This is the third Crown that Toyota has sent me in the last year and a half, and you know what? I'm really not upset about it. I reviewed the 2024, the 2025, and now we have the 2026. And they sent me my favorite one, the Crown Platinum with the Hybrid Max powertrain. I love the Toyota Crown. And what makes it so special now is that it's basically in a category of its own. The full-size sedan segment here in the US is all but dead except for the Toyota Crown. So if you want a full-size sedan that feels pretty plush, but you don't want to pay the full luxury price tag, yeah, this is your only option, but it's a very good one. So as always, we're going to start this review here underneath the hood. What we have here is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine paired with 2 electric motors, putting out a combined 340 horsepower, 400 pound-feet of torque, and that is paired with a 6-speed automatic transmission. 0 to 60 is rated at 5.7 seconds. This has full-time electronic all-wheel drive. You can see this uses a prop rod. This doesn't have hood struts, which for this price, being a fully loaded model, I think is a little disappointing. But anyway, fuel economy ratings are combined 30 miles per gallon. That's 29 in the city, 32 on the highway, and the capacity of the fuel tank is 14.5 gallons. All right, so checking out the front end here, you can see most of it is actually blocked off. You have these 2 small openings up at the top and then this larger one down here at the bottom. You can see the intercooler peeking through, but it is mostly solid, and you can see this pattern. We have all these kind of like diamond triangle bits going through the middle here. We have some parking sensors. We have 2 on here and then another 2 out towards the edge. This little plate right here is a radar sensor, and we have the forward-facing camera right underneath. You can see this lower part of the bumper is finished in gloss black. We have a flat silver trim piece going along the bottom, and then the very bottom underneath is flat black, and I think that's actually a good thing. That'll help take a beating. And for the headlights, we have these really bright quad beam projector LEDs. That 4th one on the side there, that comes on as part of the high beam. But you can see these lights are incredibly bright, and we have an LED daytime running light there at the top. And if you look on this side here, you can see that it doubles as the turn signal. And unfortunately, if you look down towards the bottom, you can see there's no fog lights or aerodynamic air vents. The side angle of the Toyota Crown, I think, is the one that kind of throws people off the most because it's a very tall sedan. It almost looks like one of those SUV coupes like the BMW X4, the BMW X6, but the only difference is that it still has a traditional sedan trunk. So it doesn't have a hatch where the glass is connected all the way to the back and the whole thing comes up. It still opens like a regular sedan trunk. But the advantage of this is that it rides a lot higher than all the other sedans on the market. The step-in height is a lot easier for older people, and you get more ground clearance than you do like on the Toyota Corolla, on the Camry. But I think the main thing is that step-in height, and overall just feeling a bit higher up than you would in other sedans. A lot of people have asked me about this vehicle. They say, you know, is it a sedan? Is it an SUV? Because it does look a little bit SUV-ish, but it isn't. Also, this bronze colorway stands out quite a bit. You don't see that too often, and it blends in really well with all the fall foliage we got going on over here. This is like a perfect fall color for a car. But going around the rest of the side, you can see we have these blacked out power folding mirrors with LED turn signal indicators. It's gloss black up at the top, but still flat black along the bottom. We have chrome on the top and on the bottom, and as you can see here, we have this floating roofline illusion that kind of connects into this back area right here. This shape right here, very similar to the Lexus RX that I reviewed recently, but Lexus is Toyota, so probably same designers working on that. We have color matched door handles, and we have the proximity sensor and locking on all 4 doors. So that is very convenient. If you're coming from behind the vehicle, need to unlock it, you can do it from any of the door handles. Now, one thing I do wish they did a little bit differently is along the side, on the wheel arches and on the bottom, we have flat black. At least it's not too much, but since this is a top trim level, I think it would have looked better if it was gloss black, just like this big piece we have here. We also have some marker lights built into the side reflectors. So the one up here in the front is amber colored, and the one back in the rear is red. And now let's take a look here at the wheel and tire setup. We have a 21-inch wheel, two-tone colorway, gloss black with a little bit of machined aluminum out towards the edges. This is riding on an adaptive variable suspension. This is riding on Michelin Primacy Tour all-season tires, and the size is 225/45. Now let's take a look at the rear of the car, and you can definitely say it's a bit unique looking. Some might think it's a little bit odd looking. To me, the thing that sticks out the most is these extra lines that we have right here. Now there are some colorways of the Toyota Crown that are actually two-tone with black, and this portion within these lines right here are actually blacked out. I'm not really a fan of how the two-tone colorways look on the Toyota Crown. I prefer this one, but you do still get that outline since it is stamped into the bumper. We have very clean tail lights here in the rear. It's just one light bar that goes all the way across. The Toyota badge kind of separates it there in the middle, and then we have this black trim going around it. You can see we have LED turn signals, and they are red instead of amber. Full LED lighting here in the rear, and you can see the badges that we have here. We have Hybrid Max, Crown spelled across, and then Platinum here on the right. And similar to up front, we have flat black on the lower bumper and some flat silver trim along the very bottom. And we have a total of 6 parking sensors along the back bumper. So the 2024 Crown that I reviewed was a Platinum. The 2025 was a Nightshade, which is one below this. But something we have here on the 26 Platinum that was not on the 24 is a power trunk lid, which I'm very happy about, because that's like the one thing that was keeping this from feeling like a luxury vehicle. So now if we look up top, you can see we have a button to electronically close the trunk lid. And even though this is a sedan, you can see it has a lot of cargo space, 15.2 cubic feet of storage. We do have 60/40 split folding seats. Underneath the floor, you can see we do get a spare tire. It is a donut, but it's a pretty substantial looking donut. It is a Bridgestone tire, and you can see it comes with a jack. It comes with the tools as well, but that's a pretty high quality tire for just a donut spare. So yeah, it is a sedan trunk. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but I am very happy about this though. So now we are inside the 2026 Toyota Crown Platinum, and now the question is, does the interior match the premium look of the exterior? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes. This cabin is extremely comfortable, and it is a nice place to spend time. And something interesting in here I want to note is the trim. In the 2 previous Toyota Crowns that I've reviewed, this trim has been a darker bronze color. Now, this is more like a lighter gold color, which is interesting because now we have a bronze exterior on this Crown, and I think the bronze trim on the interior would have worked perfectly. I'm kind of just thinking out loud here. But anyway, like here on the center console, really soft and padded, and that padding goes all the way down the side of the console, even all the way back here. Nice, comfortable place to rest your knee. And you can see this leatherette, it goes all the way up the dash, and this top part of the dash is very soft as well. We do have real leather here on the seats, and you can see the nice contrast piping. It is the same color as that trim that I just showed. Same with the stitching. We have stitching along the top, along the armrest, all the way down towards the bottom. We have a fully perforated seating surface, heated and ventilated, power adjustable 2-way lumbar, passenger seat also adjustable but no lumbar, and we also get 2 memory settings for the driver. The door panel also soft on the upper, nice leatherette on this side panel, and then we have some stitched leather here on the armrest, and again, super soft, extends all the way to the side. We have a big cup holder at the bottom and a little bit extra space, and we do have this metal look accent here on the door sill. Not sure if it's real metal. My guess is going to be no, but I could be wrong. And then we have the steering wheel, also leather wrapped, same contrast stitching color as the trim, and we have a little bit of that trim going along the bottom of the horn button. On this Platinum, we do get power tilting and telescoping. I don't remember the 2024 Platinum having that. And also, which I believe was introduced last year for 25, there's now a head-up display on the Platinum trim. It shows your speedometer, it has traffic sign recognition, and when you're using adaptive cruise control, all the information for that shows up there as well. As far as all the buttons, these right here control the digital gauge display. We have a back button, phone button, your volume switch, and voice command. These buttons on the top here are for adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, and then we have mode, and then your fast forward and rewind. Next, we have the fully digital gauge cluster with the 3 different zones that's typical for Toyota's newer products. Very highly customizable. So over here on the left side, I'm not going to read them all off, but I'm just going to scroll through just to show you how many options are here that you can show. Then if we go into the middle, there's a few less. So like you'll get your messages, and you have 2 different map styles that you can show for the in-system navigation, and then a lot of the vehicle and mechanical related stuff there off to the right. And then to the side of that, we have this 12.3-inch infotainment touchscreen. I like that it's just the 12-inch and not the giant 14-inch that a lot of the newer vehicles are getting. I think in a sedan that would look ridiculous. This screen to me is appropriately sized. So we have wireless CarPlay, Android Auto, everything works nice and quick. You can either go full screen Apple CarPlay, or you can have the menu icons for the Toyota system appear there on the left. And if we go back into the Toyota system, everything is laid out right here on the left side. I like the way that Toyota streamlines their software. It makes it very easy to use. This has an available Wi-Fi hotspot. This also has a cloud-based navigation system available with a subscription. It appears that it has not been activated on this one, but if you're using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, it's not really needed. This also has an 11-speaker JBL audio system. Let's take a quick listen. I think the levels are well balanced, the clarity is pretty good, but there is quite a bit of rattling that comes from the back seat. And what I was just playing, the volume was only at like 50%. This can go really loud, and the low-end bass doesn't get overly distorted at high volumes, but yeah, again, the interior, it does rattle quite a bit. All right, dropping down, we got physical AC controls, which I love. More and more cars are having their AC controls stuck in the screen. I really don't like when companies do that. Everything is laid out nice and easy. We have the heated and ventilated seats for the front, the heated steering wheel right there in the middle, all your typical controls, defrosters, and then this button is to turn on or off the rear AC. As far as connections, we have a wireless charger. This one has worked well. I haven't had any issues with it. It has clips that hold it in place because it does stand upright, so you would think, oh, your phone might fall out, but there are clips in there that hold your phone in place. Like I said, it works fine, but I do prefer a wireless charger that just lays flat. Over here, we have 2 USB-C ports, and then inside the center console, we get another USB-C and a 12-volt. Center console is pretty big. We have a removable tray lined with felt, goes pretty deep, so that is a good amount of storage in there. It's also dual hinge, opens from both sides. But the glove box, however, is quite disappointing. You can see there's some documentation in there, and that pretty much takes up the whole thing. We've got 2 cup holders, and then this extra area over here. This divider is removable, so you can make that one giant storage area. We have the 360 and backup camera. So we have a bunch of different 3D models and stuff. See, if I throw it in reverse, you see the 360 there off to the left. We have the backup camera, trajectory lines, and distance markers. And if you have it in drive, it can help you park. I find it useful for the most part, but I've always found this weird egg thing. But yeah, I find the other views to be a bit more useful. Here we have our drive mode selector. And just to go through the drive modes, we have custom, sport, normal, eco, and comfort. Up above, we have a fixed panoramic glass roof, and unfortunately, I'm not calling it a moonroof because it's not. It does not open. There is an electronically controlled sunshade that does completely cover it. I like to drive around with my sunroof open all the time, so personally for me that's a deal breaker, but I realize not everyone is going to care about that. So now I'm in the back seat right behind where I'd have the driver's seat adjusted for myself at 6 feet tall. As you can see, I have about 6 inches of legroom to spare. That is the beauty of full-size sedans. Plenty of room in the back. We have a pocket behind both front seats, which is good because oftentimes it's just one. Over here on the door, we have our window switch, and the 2 outer seats are heated. one stage. The door panel has all the same materials as the one up front, nice and soft. Down in the middle, we have two USB-C ports, two air vents, no AC controls, just a cutoff switch, and more of that gold trim. One thing I will say though is that headroom in the back is not the best. The top of my head is touching the roof. I mean, if I slouch a little bit, it's fine, but yeah. And the center armrest, fold that down, really nice and soft. I could honestly use that as a pillow. And then in here, we have two cup holders, although they are quite shallow. So if you have tall drinks, I'm not sure exactly how effective that's gonna be. All right, so now we are behind the wheel of the 2026 Toyota Crown Platinum. We're gonna head into an acceleration test here. I have it in sport mode. 0 to 60 is rated at 5.7 seconds. All right, quickly gonna come to a complete stop. No brake torque, just gonna go. I absolutely love driving the Toyota Crown. And thanks to this having two electric motors, you get a good amount of boost from those motors, and that significantly contributes to that 400 pound-feet of torque. And because a big chunk of that is electric power, it kicks in pretty much instantaneously. This engine, it does have a turbo, and turbos are known to lag a little bit while it spools up, but the boost from the electric motors kind of helps cancel that out. And this 6-speed automatic transmission, it is a direct drive, so that is how those electric motors are able to integrate into the powertrain. This Platinum trim level, it has electronic all-wheel drive, so what that means is you have the engine and one electric motor in the front, and then you have a second electric motor in the back. The back wheels are powered exclusively by that rear electric motor, independently from up front. This doesn't have a traditional drive shaft because the rear wheels have their own power. Toyota always makes a very efficient hybrid system, but this one, it's efficient, but it's also powerful. Even with the power figures this thing puts out, it still gets a combined 30 miles per gallon. For a sedan this big and this powerful, I think that's quite impressive. Earlier this year, I had the Toyota Crown Nightshade as a press car, and in that test drive video, I pretty much the whole time kept saying, man, I wish I was driving a Platinum. If you opt for one of the lower trim levels, you'll still get a hybrid powertrain, but not the hybrid max powertrain. And that powertrain, while it is a good amount more efficient, it is a lot slower and a lot less fun to drive. And also more cost effective too, of course. So if you're looking for something more efficient and more cost effective, maybe consider the Nightshade, which is one below the Platinum. You will lose a few features if you do that, but you just have to decide what's important to you. Next, let's talk about ride quality and comfort. It is fantastic. In fact, it feels very Lexus-like. I've said that in my other videos I've done on Toyota Crowns, but it's very true. They designed this to feel like a luxury vehicle, and they've done a very good job at doing so. And a key component that helps with that is the adaptive variable suspension, the same adaptive variable suspension system that we typically find in upper trim level Lexus vehicles. So this is the first time that I've seen that trickle down into a Toyota product. I don't think it's the first time it's happened, but it's the first time I've gotten to experience it at least. So with the suspension, we have struts up front, multi-link in the rear, both with coil springs. It's incredibly smooth. It has that very floaty Lexus feeling. And like I said earlier, this full-size sedan segment, as far as non-luxury vehicles go, this is really the last one left. But this vehicle, even fully loaded, it still significantly undercuts the cost of a luxury full-size sedan. But even those vehicles now were starting to die off. In fact, Lexus just announced that they're ending production of the LS, which is their full-size luxury sedan. And I believe the starting price of that is like well into the mid-80s. This one fully loaded is under 60. And the LS, it is a much nicer vehicle, don't get me wrong. But you get a lot of value for your money with this Toyota Crown. It's also extremely quiet like a Lexus. It has good insulation, good sound deadening materials, and it even has laminated glass on the windshield. Before I get into the steering and handling, I quickly just want to show the custom drive mode.
So these are the parameters that you can control independently. So for powertrain, we have sport, normal, rear comfort, and eco. Suspension, normal, sport, rear comfort, and steering, sport, normal, rear comfort. And then air conditioning, you can put on eco to make it, I guess, a bit more efficient. So the steering has pretty nice weight to it. I have it here in sport mode. So in sport mode, it is a bit heavier. In normal mode, it's a little bit lighter, but I typically like heavy steering, so the way the steering feels in sport mode is excellent. A lot of the press cars that I get are SUVs, so it is refreshing to have a sedan for once, even though it is a very large sedan. Now, steering in this thing is an absolute breeze thanks to the rear dynamic steering. So when you're on these sharper turns like this, the rear wheels actually turn in the opposite direction of the front wheels. And that significantly helps eliminate body roll because now the back of the car isn't just being dragged along, it's actually part of the turn as well. So instead of turning like this, it's turning like this. When you make turns like that in a typical vehicle that doesn't have that, a lot of the force gets put onto the outer edges of the rear tire, specifically in that opposite direction. So if you're turning left, that outside edge of the right back tire gets a lot of pressure put on it, but then incorporating that wheel into the turn, it alleviates a lot of that. So thanks to that rear steering system, this has virtually no body roll. So even though this is a large vehicle, it is very nimble and you can throw it around and have some fun with it. Last thing I want to talk about is the braking, because I think they did some work on it. And I don't mean like the hardware of the brakes themselves, I mean the regenerative braking system. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm a pretty big critic of Toyota's regenerative braking system. I find it to be unpredictable at times and also a nuisance at times, but it seems a lot different in this vehicle. So if you can see those two red lines at the bottom of the gauge cluster, when you see those red lines, that is when the regenerative braking system is on. And typically in other Toyotas I've driven, it would just come on at random times if you take your foot up off the accelerator. But now I've noticed in the week that I've had this 26 Crown that it only kicks on when you put your foot down on the brake. So it's not random and sporadic like all the experiences I've had with Toyota's braking so far. So when you let your foot up off the accelerator, you don't have to think now, oh, is it gonna kick on, or what is it gonna do? Now it only engages when you put your foot on the brake, and that is the way it should be. So I'm very glad that that is the way it works now, and hopefully the other models will get that too.
MSRP of this 2026 Toyota Crown Platinum is $56,600. A huge thank you to Toyota for sending me the Crown to keep for an entire week so that I can give you guys the most thorough review possible. Please let me know your thoughts on the Crown Platinum down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, please share with a friend and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos, and be sure to follow @OpticalAutomotive on TikTok and Instagram, and check out the page on Facebook. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.